What's good, y'all? Anderson Emerald here, back in the hotel, and we are talking about the women's 200 meters. Now, check out the video I already did talking about the men's 200 meters, my initial reaction. Here, just want to give an initial reaction on the women's 200. I got a chance to speak to only Shericka from this race and some of the other women. Oh, actually, I spoke to Dina as well, but some of the other women did a press conference, Melissa and Amy Hunt. So check that out on the Citius Mag YouTube channel. And also, I kind of gave my full breakdown on Citius Mag podcast, so check that out as well. But let's dive in. Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, gold medal in 21.68 seconds. She now completes the sprint double at the World Championships. The last time this happened at the World Champs was 2013 when Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce had won the 100, 200, and of course she won the 4x1 that year as well. The last time this happened for any woman was 2021 at the Tokyo Olympic Games, actually on the same track where Elaine Thompson-Herah, she also got the sprint triple. Now, Melissa is, aiming to get the sprint triple. Check out the history video that I did, from, I did that back in 2023, I think, breaking down the history of the sprint triple. So she's on pace for that. But she also is the first American woman to win the 100 and 200 at the World Championships. Gwen Torrence in 1995 had won the 100 and the 200, but I think she was DQ'd. I know she was DQ'd in the 200 for stepping on the line. So, Marlene Ottey actually got the gold medal there. But Melissa Jefferson-Wooden dominated this race. It was not close. 21.68. No one else broke 22 seconds. Amy Hunt was 22.14. Shericka Jackson was 22.18. We'll talk about them both in a second. This was a culmination of what is arguably, not arguably, it's one of the greatest seasons in history for a sprinter on the women's side by far. And especially in the 100, solid, like undefeated. In the 200, she only lost one 200-meter race, the Miami Grand Slam track meet, where she lost to Gabby Thomas and Tamari Davis. I think that meet, and I think Anson Henry might have said this, but I think that meet might have been the catalyst for Melissa to say, all right, I can be a contender in the 200. Because remember, I'm actually not even going to remember, but her personal best prior to this year was like 22.5, maybe. Someone could let me know the exact personal best, but she was not a fast 200-meter runner. We didn't know what talent of a 200-meter runner she was. And now she's running 21.68. Like, the progress that she was able to make and the way she executed this race, watching it from the stands, and I'm just like standing in the middle of the home straight, from the gun, once she was out 5 steps, in, I said she's winning the gold medal. I thought Shericka Jackson would get a little bit better of a start, but maybe Shericka, I'll talk about her in a second, but she did get pretty well. But it's just Melissa was out like a rocket. We know that she has such a consistent start, and she was able to execute this here. But then when she entered the turn, when she entered the home straight and was going down, heading towards the finish line, she was, obviously you say pulling away, but she was decelerating the least relative to all the other athletes. And she was just increasing the gap. Like, it was getting bigger and bigger, and she executed, crossing the line. Her eyes, if you watch the replay, you can see her eyes just like bulging up, getting bigger, and she becomes the gold medalist in both the 100 and the 200. Now, in my opinion, obviously, I think most people probably had Julian Alfred as a favorite going into the 200 prior to the World Championships. She, of course, got injured, had to pull out of the meet. I think that even if Julian Alfred was in this field, despite her having run 21.71 into a headwind, I think that Melissa Jefferson-Wooden would have, of course, put up a fight, and I think she would have won the gold medal still as well. I feel like she came into this meet and even this race, specifically the 200, like, I'm not losing. I'm going to do whatever it takes to actually get that gold medal. I'm going to do whatever it takes to actually win the sprint double. I'm going to do whatever it takes to actually stand on top of that podium. And listen, we didn't see Julian versus Melissa as we wanted to in this 200, but Melissa Jefferson-Wooden proved that, honestly, the 21.68, and slight headwind, negative 0.1, so essentially negligible. Like, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, she is the top athlete. In the sprints, I don't know, I have to look at other events, but like she is the woman of 2025. She's been running since April. April was the Kingston Grand Slam track meet, and she has been on fire. This is why I say, or why you should think about, is an athlete peaking too early? Every athlete, and in this case Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, knows exactly when the World Championships is. she wasn't peaking for, Grand Slam. She wasn't peaking for, well, she did a small peak for USA's, but her goal was the World Championships. So listen, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, double, sprint gold in the 100, 200. She might get on that 4x1, but Amy Hunt, silver medal, 22.14 seconds. Now, this was pretty big because Amy Hunt had been having a really strong season. She'd been relatively consistent across the board. She especially did very well at the early Diamond League meets. And then, she was always in the mix when it came to the Diamond Leagues. But I don't think many people actually expected her to get on the podium. Obviously, when, with Julian Alfred, in the conversation as well, and then you add in some other women like a Brittany Brown or a Navia Battle, it was tough to see Amy Hunt actually getting on the podium. And as the top Brit, she beat out Dean Asher-Smith, who finished 5th place here. I don't think many people expected it for Amy, but I mean, this was a great performance and kind of the culmination of a return to the track, right? She had dealt with some injuries and kind of returned and has now been clicking off personal best throughout the season and just the hard work that she's put in. So shout out to Amy Hunt and, 22.14, not a crazy fast time, but a really strong performance to solidify her spot as a silver medalist. And she kind of had to run down Shericka Jackson, who got the bronze medal here, running 22.18 seconds. I, after the semifinals, had thought that Shericka was really going to challenge for a gold medal because she ran 21.99. And that gave me confidence that not that she was going to win gold, but that she was going to put up a strong fight for, to defend her title. Now, I didn't think she was going to run 21.4, 21.5, or even 21.6, but I guess I wasn't sure if Melissa was going to run this fast. Maybe I should have thought about that in hindsight, but Shericka Jackson getting a bronze medal, and check out the interview that we did with her after the race. Check that out on the Citius Mag YouTube channel. She was elated. She was so happy. She was smiling. She was, just reflecting on how she dealt with so many injuries throughout the past, 2 years or so. And she was kind of breaking down all the different injuries that she had from hamstring and like all kinds of different things. But she was elated to get back onto the podium. I asked her about kind of, the journey, because it was not an easy journey to get to this point. And, as she's speaking through, you can see her kind of smiling because it's like, wow, I overcame these setbacks. I pushed through when there may have been times that I wasn't sure if it's, if I'm going to be able to get back in the way I want to. I mean, last year, she literally had to pull out of the Olympic Games. So Shericka Jackson here, getting on the podium. I mean, this is a huge win and puts her right back into the conversation as we move into the future about, her contending, for a silvers and golds, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, she is, older than some of these younger athletes, but she has tons of experience. And I don't see her, stepping down in any capacity anytime soon. I think the way that she sounds, she wants to continue to, keep putting her best foot forward and continue to try and get on the podium. So a bronze medal here. She also said that for the 4x1, her, Tina Clayton and Tia Clayton, they've done some training because obviously they're all in MVP. So they've done some baton handoffs and relay exchanges. They haven't done any in Tokyo because, she's been focusing on the double, but she feels like they're ready for the 4x1. Now, it's going to be very interesting. I think, well, I'll talk about that maybe another time, but the USA women, they're definitely going to be a very strong team to go up against, especially with Melissa Jefferson-Wooden. On paper, it's definitely going to be competitive because you have Tina Clayton and then you have Shericka Jackson. But you also have Sha'carri Richardson, who made the final ahead of and finished ahead of, like Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. But, I don't know. I'm playing hypotheticals right now. We'll see how the 4x1s actually do shake out. But Shericka Jackson, in her race, she got out very well, but she started to fade in the second half of the race. And a Navia Battle actually was kind of running down on her, right? A Navia Battle, 4th place, 22.22 seconds. It was really, really tough. Shericka Jackson almost lost a medal, but for her to get on the podium, amazing performance. Navia Battle just missed out on the podium. She had a great 2025 season. And then I did speak to Dean Asher-Smith. Check out that interview. That's pretty good. I was, hopefully very gracious to Dina, but I asked her about the coaching change and why she decided to leave Texas. And she didn't go into very specifics, but she essentially said it was the best move for her. She wanted to put herself in a space that was going to be beneficial to, her growth and development. And she felt that leaving Texas and moving to London, back to London, was the best move for her. I also think that, well, not I think, she said that she's been training on her own. Maybe she has some guy, some other men who she trained with to be able to push her as we've been leading up to the world champs. But kind of reading between the lines, and maybe at some point she'll dive a little bit deeper, but it seems like there may either like there may have been some issues, or like just she wasn't in the right mental space, and living in Texas or being in that training group just wasn't, the greatest of, situations for her. I don't know. It's interesting, but definitely check out that interview. She was very hesitant and patient, but, appreciative. I'm appreciative of her kind of sharing, why she did switch coaches. So shout out to Dean Asher-Smith. You had Brittany Brown in 6, running out of lane 2. It was going to be very tough. Marie-José Talu-Smith, and then Mackenzie Long coming up, at the end as well. Anthony Strawn, she false started. She had a huge wrap on her leg. She got injured, I think, in the semifinal. So, it was going to be very tough for her to contend. But Melissa Jefferson-Wooden, double gold medalist in the 100 and the 200. The first time we'd seen it since 2020 Olympic Games with Elaine Thompson-Herah. And the first time at the World Championships since 2013 with Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. And of course, she is the first American to ever do the sprint double at the World Championships. So amazing performance. Let me know what you think about this women's 200. Again, this is just an initial reaction. Later on, I'm gonna be diving in more in depth with some like stats and history on all kinds of different stories. Let me know what you think. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Truly do appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching.